There's nothing like a good old-fashioned bowl of collard greens, whether it's for the holidays, whether it's for at work in the microwave, or if you're just home and you need something real quick to eat. There's nothing like a good old-fashioned bowl of collard greens. I'm here to teach you how to make collard greens with pork and turkey, smoked turkey. I'm Reginald Bullock, and I look forward to eating these collard greens that I'm about to make. I have been asked to make collard greens for Thanksgiving at my son's house. So I bought 25 bunches. This is about a bunch. This was $1.19 a piece. So I have 25 of those. And I filled water up with in the sink. Put, a little bit of bleach in there. I don't measure. I just throw it in there. And at this point, I am cutting out the stem. It's a preference. Some people like the stem. Some people don't like the stem. I prefer not to have the stem. Some people may say, okay, there are nutritions in the stem. I agree, there's nutrition in all parts of a vegetable. But I get nutrition from all kinds of places. So I don't want the stem in. And therefore, I cut the stem out. And that's how you cut the stem out. You just take the knife, slide. I just pinch that. Some people cut it. But after you've been doing it for a while, you don't really have to do it. Years ago, I would do it like this. I would slide it down here, cut across there, and pull it out. But over time, I realized that if I cut it real close like that, I can just twist it right on out. So that's part of the preparation for cutting collard greens. Now what I'm doing is I'm throwing them in the water where the bleach is. So they'll sit in there and soak, and then I will take them out and put them in this tub right here. And by the time I get to it, this tub will be ready too. I'll clean this out and put the collard greens in there. And that will be phase one. I probably should have videoed this earlier, but I did get ahead of myself. In this pot is a bunch of smoked turkey necks and smoked turkey wings. Put a little bit of garlic in there and a little bit of paprika, and I will season it to taste later. But when you make this, there is no special ingredient that you have to have in there. I have onions that I'll probably put in later. You don't have to have onions. You don't have to have all the ingredients that some people say. I know there are people who just put smoked turkey and water and greens and let it go. And then when it's time to eat, they doctor it up. I doctor mine up with hot sauce and vinegar. And for those people who eat pork, I kind of grew up in a southern household. My mom cooked on Sundays like most, and these are ham hocks. So I'll do both. I'll probably give these away. I know my neighbors, they like my collard greens, so one would love to have one of these ham hocks in their collard greens. So their collard greens will be with ham hocks, while the other is with smoked turkey neck. So it's a pretty big pot. So here we go. The next phase is the double rinse. Remember, these were already cut by me. Took the stems out. And then I put them in water that had bleach in it. That's to get any parasites and any type of bacteria off of the collard greens. So now I have them soaking again in water because this water is getting the bleach off. Then what I'm going to do is transfer it from here to here so that I definitely have all of the the dirt, the bleach, parasites, and everything else off. And then I will start cutting. Cutting collard greens actually can be therapeutic and fun. Have a good sharp knife and find your rhythm. Once you find your rhythm, you can slice through these collard greens and pop these stems out in a pretty much quick order like I'm doing right now. I like cooking, and collard greens is just one of those things that I like to cook. I like to cook anything on a grill, a smoker, on the fire, you name it. If it's meat, I cook it. So today I'm cooking collard greens, but I tell you what, I wish I could show you how I cook my grilled chicken. Maybe I'll do that one day. Meanwhile, when you are doing these collard greens, make sure you transfer them right into that water with the bleach in it so that it can get rid of those parasites and the other germs and bacteria that may be on them so that you can have good, clean collard greens before you start. As you can see, I transferred from this sink to this sink, and this is where the final rinse occurs. So there were three. It was first in this sink, if you recall, with bleach after I cut. Then I put it in this sink full of water to clean the collard greens and get most of the residue off. This process here means it's definitely clean. And now I get to go cutting, and then I put the cut collard greens here. All right, so pay attention. So again, we're in phase 2. So you take some, you just loosely put them in here so they can kind of shed the water. Then we'll take a few leaves. I'll show you another technique, like this, like that, like that. Then you just kind of lay some more in there, more, and more. You roll the leaves, roll tightly, and cut. There you go. It's happening. This piece right here takes a little finesse. You take some of these out, and now I put it in this sink so that they can kind of shed the water. So I put them in there loosely. That way the water starts to shed. Then I'll take a few leaves, and they don't always have to be this way or that way. The main thing is you wanna get these leaves in a position where you can roll them. So I'll start off like this, just because I want them close together. And then I stack a few leaves. This is a very good one. And this right here, this is a good bottom leaf. So let's transfer and do like that. That's a good bottom leaf. And you take the leaves like this, and there's no rhyme or reason. I mean, but here's what happens. You roll them real tight, just like that. And once you roll them, I take the knife, do like that, like that, like that. Take the knife again, slice them like that, like that. Now you have cut collard greens. Do it one more time for you. Get a couple of leaves. I'm gonna stack them up. So when I'm really, like today, trying to get through a lot of collard greens, then you just go for it. And you stack them up. Because the more you stack, the less you have to cut. But the higher you stack, the thicker this is. And the thicker this is, you gotta really get in it and make it tight, like that. Then, take your knife, get that, go through it one more time. You're like, he's gonna cut himself, right? I've been doing this for a while, so never cut myself yet. All right, so that's kind of phase 2. Phase 3 is when we put the collard greens into the pot. once you finish cutting the collard greens, now the next phase, you know I'm making these phases up, right? I think I'm at phase 3, and that is putting the collard greens into the pot when you open it up. So I have a tendency to just kind of back it up like this, let the steam come out, and don't let it get on your hands. Now, that smoked turkey neck and smoked turkey wings have been simmering in there for a while. So some of it may be falling off the bone. Let's see that right there? Steaming up. But that will fall off the bone. Look at that. It's just coming right off. Matter of fact, some of these turkey necks right here, they break it in half. That's what you want, because all of that meat is going to get into the collard greens. Now, let's look at the smoked ham hocks. These ham hocks right here are also probably falling off the bone, which is what you want. It's pork. I don't play with pork. If I'm gonna cook it, it needs to do right. Look at that. It's just falling off. I mean, I could probably just pop that off right here and off screen eat that right there. Look at that. Look, I mean, it's just falling off the bone. That's what you want. Is that bone in there? And that's some of the nutrients and the seasonings are in that bone that's going to come out into this stock. So I have a pork stock and I have a turkey stock. Now what I'm going to do is turn the flame up so I get this to boiling and hot, because I'm about to put these greens in there and I want them to jump in there and start doing what they do. Now, I may take a little bit of this stock out. I think I'll leave all of this stock in there because this is a pretty deep pot. And I'm looking at all of these here. So that's a lot. All right, let's work it out. Because I have so much in here, I decided I want to take some of that out and let a few of these kind of land on top or in the middle of the collard greens, instead of having all of the meat on the bottom. Wow, look at that, look at that. I mean, it's just falling off the bone. That's what you want. So I can't even pick this one up because it's just falling off the bone. So, oh, look at that bone. See that? Once you have a good stock and that meat is falling off the bone, it's going to have a relationship with those collard greens. Now, I still have enough in there, on the bottom. Oh, I'm getting hungry now. That I can actually leave them in there, put collard greens in, and throw some of this meat back in there. And that way I'll have the meat at different stages of the height, because I have a lot of collard greens. There you go. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. I probably should have introduced myself. I'm Reginald Bullock. And today, I'm Chef Bullock. All right, so I think I'll move these over here so that I can put the collard greens closer to the pot, because I'm about to get with it. There we go. Look at that. Okay, so basically, you just start throwing them in. I've already put garlic in there, a little bit of salt, just a little bit of salt, because with the smoked turkey, it has its own flavor. And before I start flavoring it up, I'm gonna make sure that I don't over flavor or over salt it. I love seasoning. I love seasoning. But keep in mind, this is for a Thanksgiving Day dinner. And everybody has different tastes. You see how these greens are just falling all over the place? That's part of the process. I can always get a broom later. So everybody has different tastes. I prefer spicy, not too hot spicy, but I like to have a little bite. I may even put red pepper in there if it's just my own personal collard greens. I'll put some red pepper in there. Maybe even throw some brown sugar in there. Lots of garlic. You can hardly ever overdo garlic. I'll put another one in there. And The salt is sparingly because when these greens cook, for those people who know how collard greens are, that's just the first day. When you eat the greens the second day, after the seasoning has gotten all up in there, that's a whole different story. And then, when you eat it after it's been frozen, you put it in a frozen container, and you let that thing freeze for about, let's just say, a month. And then you go back to it, it tastes even different. So you have to be careful how you season it. I'll probably put some onions in there. I have a few types of onions. I can actually show them now. Probably rude being off screen, but it's my house. So I'll cut these up, but I don't want to put them in there too early because it'll just be too watery. So anyway, back to this. You see how many greens I have? I mean, look at this. I'm still stuffing them in this pot. This is a big old gumbo pot. Now, I'm gonna take these and put them on top because what's gonna happen once you put that lid on and that steam starts to circulate around in this pot, it's gonna circulate through this. Look at this, I'm just breaking these things up and that's just gonna kind of cook down into the juices. And I haven't forgotten the pork side of the house. I know a lot of people don't like pork and are against pork. That's fine. I lived in Saudi Arabia for 3 years, and for 3 years I didn't eat pork. Actually, for probably many years after that. But I mean, it's your life, it's your body, and you can do whatever you want to do. So, my Aunt Trudy's 94 years old, been eating pork all her life. So, I mean, it's personal preference. So now, you see how I'm stacking it in there like that, real hard and high? For those of you who've ever cooked collard greens, you know these things are gonna cook down. And since they're gonna cook down, I figured, all right, I'm just gonna put them in there. And we work it out. Now, topping it off. This is a lot of collard greens. I don't know what the volume is in terms of size, but I'll say it was 25 bunches. And I made a lot. Now, there's not that many people gonna be at Thanksgiving. But if I'm gonna make collard greens, I'm gonna make some for myself. And I'm gonna have a lot of containers. And I'm gonna have them in the freezer so whenever I want my collard greens, I can have them. All right, phase 3 is done. Phase 4 will be when I check it and I'll check the seasoning, make sure that, it's not overcooking. And I usually let it cook for about an hour and a half. A big pot like this, it'll probably be 2 hours. It's still gonna have to take a while to get back up to the right heat. I'm gonna put it on simmer, not high heat like it is right now. And then once it starts simmering real low, I'll just let that run for about an hour and a half. Then I'm gonna cut it off. I'm gonna cut both of these pots off, and I'm just gonna let them sit there in their own juices for about 2 hours. Not even cooking. And then after that, it's ready. Now, it's ready for day 1. As I told you, collard greens taste better the second time around, the second day. And even a month later after you take them out of the freezer. But that's the process of cooking collard greens, and we'll see what happens. I just checked the collard greens. They're doing well and simmering. I'm thinking I may only let the small pot cook for about an hour. The large pot will cook for an hour and a half, and then I'll simmer them. Then I had an idea, since I have some potatoes, why not throw a couple of potatoes in the pot, the small pot, and while they're cooking, I'll just throw these in there with them. So that way I'll have collard greens and potatoes. I just threw them in there. So before I use knives to do my work, a lot of times I like to sharpen it. This is a good one. This is on fine right now. It doesn't really need to be on medium because I sharpen them pretty regularly. But I'll just go through them a few times to make sure that they are, as we say, ready for Freddy. So that one's sharp. This one generally stays sharp, so I only need to pass it through there a few times. There you go. And I do have knife preference, so I use them for different purposes. what I'm about to do now is cut onions to put them in the pot with the collard greens. So it doesn't matter which blade you use, as long as you're comfortable with it. So I like these when they cut like this. They just cut these right off. And what I do is kind of score them right here. Score them right here. And that allows me to just get in there and peel them off. I'm not the kind of person that I have to peel the exact outer layer because I'm trying to save every layer of the onion. So I don't worry about it. Now we'll use this other one. Here. I'll do it that way. Everybody has their own way of cutting onions. This is just one of the ways that I do it. I learned this when I was about 12 years old. I'm from Philadelphia. So in Philly, we make Philadelphia cheesesteaks. And I used to make Philly cheesesteaks at home. So you gotta have fried onions with the Philly cheesesteaks. And I would just try to figure out how to peel the onion. And one day, I was like, this is getting crazy. I'm having a hard time peeling onions. Because, I would try to peel them like this, and just kind of get into it and just peel it one layer at a time, as you may have said before. And it's just cumbersome trying to peel this thing one layer at a time. So I'm like, the heck with that. I'm going to go ahead and get with this onion because I'm trying to cook and eat. So, in Philly, you got to cook because we were latchkey kids. So as a latchkey kid, my mom wasn't hardly ever home. So I had to learn how to cook. Point is, the eating is more important than cooking. So if you spend too much time playing with an onion, then at what point are you going to eat? So you got to make quick work of the onion and just get it in. Now I'm going a little bit faster because I'm tired of crying while I am cooking. So it's cold outside. It's like 30 degrees, but the wind is blowing and this helps my eyes because I'm right over the top of these onions. So got the onion. There's a couple ways you could do the onion. One of the ways I do it is just simply do like that. Some people like to make them real thin, real paper thin, but once they cook, then you really can't taste the onion. So I like to have them a little bit thicker. Now, you gotta be careful. So what I do is so, I don't cut myself, is just kind of go sideways like that and get into it. You can keep this piece. This gets real meaty. I'm gonna keep it because I'm gonna put it in a big pot. So you can break them up like this. You don't have to. Eventually they're gonna break up on their own, but I prefer to do it. So this is just one way, right? Now, that's gonna be long and stringy. Therefore, you may not want them long and stringy. So you make them shorter. I'll show you how to do that. And the way you do that is you just take it and maybe put it in there in a little X marks the spot type thing. And then do the same thing. And now you have smaller pieces and they'll break up. And you'll be able to manage with them. So I like to have smaller pieces for my collard greens. Now you saw that, right? Ain't nothing wrong with having a whole piece like this in there. I mean, some people will, that'll be their favorite piece. They want that big piece of onion. So put it in there like a king cake, right? You found a prize in there. So this is how I do it. I just slice it up a little bit. And then what I will do with these is I'll put them in the pot on top. I won't put them and stir them deep into the pot yet because onions will cook a lot faster than the collard greens. So I want the onions to cook a little slower, but I want the flavoring inside with the collard greens. So now these are a lot of onions, right? So I just cut them up because I'm cutting them up. But as I put them into the pot, I gauge it by eyeball. I generally don't measure anything. People ask me, Reggie, give me your recipe. The only thing I can tell you, if you want my recipe, you just need to watch me because I generally don't measure anything and I feel it to taste. So that's the way my grandmother did it. That's the way my aunts and my mother did it. And that's the way I do it. So there you have it. Chopped onions going in the pot. Okay, I'm back. That's a Maryland crab right there. Maryland blue crab, even though it's red. So it's time to do a quick check, right? And we have ham hocks and collard greens, and I threw 2 potatoes in there. And here we have smoked turkey and collard greens. As you can see, it's already cooked down. Remember, it was at the top of the pot. What else was at the top of the pot? Remember, this lid couldn't even go on hardly. And now look at it, it's cooking down. So, I already did a taste test. This particular pot, because of the ham hocks and all of the flavoring in them, does not need anything unless I want to give it a bite. And that means I might put some cayenne or red pepper, coarse black pepper in this one, and doctor it up my way, for me. But I know my neighbor, he's gonna have some too, so I need to be mindful that everybody taste buds are not the same, because I like mine spicy. This one right here does need something in it, so I just kind of put some salt in. This is, if anybody knows me, this is my favorite. I'm not trying to endorse anything, but I've been using this forever. I had my mother ship them to Saudi Arabia when I lived over there for 3 years, and I needed that to cook with. So we're gonna put onions in there. The potatoes are already in there. I'll flip them around and we'll see where we are in another hour. I know I said see where we are in another hour, but I wanted to make sure that I got this done. So this is a ground pepper. I'm not using coarse pepper for here. Again, this is going to be feeding a lot of different taste buds. So I'm only using ground pepper, and I'm not putting a lot in there, even though it looks like it. This is a big pot. It'll cook down. And this is coarse kosher salt. This coarse kosher salt just allows me to see it better, and it allows it to kind of slowly release itself into the pot. And just because I'm Reggie B, I gotta do this. I can't cook anything without using my favorite seasoning oil. So now I'll probably end up putting more in there later on, but I always do it to taste, and I taste my food all of the time. So now let's put some onions in there. Let's start with this one, because this right here is going to cook pretty quickly. And I want the long onions. Those are on the bottom. And it's going to cook fairly quickly, which means it's 11 o'clock right now. Guess what I'm going to have this afternoon? So, I like onions. So, I like onions. And this here, we'll just kind of put them all in there. Now, y'all make sure you wash your hands all of the time. Off camera, y'all haven't seen it, but I'm a stickler for that kind of thing. Wash your hands, and I'm washing everything else. The knives, I've already cleaned them and sharpened them. And then I use this. So you see 2 of them there, but you do use that to taste. And this here, let me see what this potato looking like. All right, got a hot potato. So what will happen is the onions will start to cook down, and they'll start to talk. And so will these. This is a bigger ladle. These onions will cook down and start to talk. I'm turning this around because I did put seasoning in here. So I do want that seasoning to kind of get down a little bit. And then the other thing is I want to go all the way down to the bottom and bring the bottom to the top. Take the pot. All right, I got to get with this. So I have to get with it. Got to put a little bit of muscle action into it and make it work. Because this pot is hot, but I need to do what I got to do. All right, now I can put some muscle into it and get in there and take it from the bottom to the top. And while doing that, what's happening is the meat is breaking up off the bone. Now, the onions and the seasoning, and collard greens and smoked turkey and the bone and the water and the stock and the pot are all having a relationship inside. And they are getting to know each other. It's gonna be good. And this is gonna be good too. So, we will come back and see where we are. Like I said, in about an hour. All right. The time has finally come. I'm telling you, I've let these collard greens kind of sit in their own juices for a while. I stir them, turn the heat back up a little bit, and just, let them do what they do. So let's find out what we're working with. Remember, you hold the lid close to the pot so the steam and everything doesn't burn you. And you can see it has cooked down quite a bit. So let's check it out. I already tasted it, and I like the taste. Yeah, this is good. This is real good. So now let's check out this one here. I'm gonna change spoons and grab this one. Okay. Let's see, it shouldn't be too hot. Angle it so you don't get burnt by the steam. Oh, look at that. You see what's going on there? Onions, smoked ham hock. Oh, they're just falling off the bone. Man, this is good. Let's find one of those potatoes. There we go. There's a potato right there. Let's see if it's done. Oh yeah, that potato is done. It just sliced right in half. So we're good, we're good, we're good. Not bad, Reggie B, not bad. As you can see, they're done. So there's nothing else left to do than to just start scooping it out, right? So over here, I have a few containers, and those containers will be used to store them so that they can, sit inside a freezer and maybe eat them a week later or a month later or 3 months later. And I'm gonna tell you, when the season sits in there like that and it freezes and defrosts and now it's reheated, it just gets all in those juices. So let's plate the ham hock. So I'm gonna reach in there and it's just falling off the bone. Put a little bit of ham hock there, put a bone in there, get a piece of potato, put it in there. This is a hearty meal right here. And then, of course, let's go after some of these collard greens. Gotta put some pot liquor in there, some onions. Yes, I said pot liquor. And you gotta get a little bit of that skin in there. So that's one. The other, I'm gonna use a different scooper. The other here, I mean, look at that. You just grab it like that. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna grab it. You saw those juices dripping? This is how you do it. Do like that. Let those juice drip right in there. Kind of put that smoked turkey and collard greens and onions in there. And that's how you do it. Okay. So it's plated, it's ready. This is the final touch. Now, meat I generally want vinegar in mine. So I'll just take about a capful and pour that there. I love hot sauce. So I'll take some hot sauce and put a little bit here, a little there, and a little here, and a little there. And of course, you want to have a little bit of red wine with it. It doesn't have to be red wine. If you want white wine, you're more than happy to have white wine. If you want a beer, that's fine too. Or even a glass of water. I just decide I want a little bit of wine here. Okay? And then what I'm gonna do is mix it up a little bit. Mix that vinegar, that hot sauce. This is the best part, the eating, right? So let's see here. Now normally, I have a fork in the left hand, knife in the right hand, but I don't even need a knife. So I'm just gonna go at it aggressive style. I can taste all of the flavors. Collard greens. Still a little bit crunchy, but they should be because I just cooked them. They won't be crunchy a few hours from now. In a few days from now, they'll be nice and smooth. And let's see. Let's find. Now, the way you deal with a turkey neck is with your hand. You gotta get in there, and that's how you deal with a turkey neck. But I would say that these greens are done. I'm just Reggie B at home cooking. It's what I do, and this is how I do it. Happy Thanksgiving, and I hope you learned a little something from me, and hope your collard greens turn out well. Thank you.